We can get started if you guys just want to come to a comfortable seat, whatever that means to you. You can be sitting up on a block, on a blanket. Oh, there's Shannon. You can sit on a pillow, sit right directly on your mat. Your legs can be crossed, they can be out in front of you, whatever's comfortable for you. If you'd like to ground yourself down, you can always place your palms on your knees, palms down. If you'd like to feel a little more energy tonight, you can always place those hands palms up. And when you're ready, just close your eyes or lower your gaze, whichever you're more comfortable with. And just start to pay attention to your breath. No need to change it. No need to judge it. Just start to pay attention. And while you're listening to your breath, maybe you start counting the length of your inhales. And then maybe you can count the length of your exhales. And maybe on your next inhale, you can count to one number higher and elongate that inhale just 1 second more. And on your next exhale, you can elongate that exhale, adding just another second to your breath. And then maybe you want to add another second to your next inhale, exhale combination. And see if you can add one more second onto that inhale and one more second onto that exhale. Taking nice, slow, easy, deep breaths. If your mind is racing, just concentrate on counting. Let anything that happened earlier from this moment just melt away. You can return to whatever normal breathing you'd like. Whether that be continuing on with your long, slow inhales and exhales, or moving to a more rapid pace. Whatever's comfortable for you. I'm going to say 5 statements. And on each exhale, just repeat the statement in your own mind. Each inhale will be just for today. In the first exhale, I will let go of anger. Just for today, I will let go of worry. Just for today, I will be thankful. And just for today, I will be kind. And just for today, I will work honestly. Go ahead and repeat one of those inside your head with each exhale. Or choose your own mantra, whatever you prefer. You can bring your awareness back to your body. You can let go of any breath you may be hanging on to. You can gently open your eyes or raise your gaze. And we'll start by gently inhaling our arms up into the air. From here, see if you can pop those ribs back in if they've tucked out. See if you can melt those shoulders down the back and still reach up with your hands. Fingers can be splayed out, reaching for the sky. And just breathe here. See if you can get that stretch to come from not just your side body, but also the interior of your arms. And on your next exhale, we'll stretch to the right, placing the right hand on the mat, reaching over with the left. You can shine your chest towards the ceiling if you'd like. You can gaze above your armpit or up in the air. Option here to take this left arm in the air and just take it bent right back behind your back, reaching for that ridge in between your thigh and hip here. And if you're incorporating the bind, just make sure you shine that chest towards the ceiling. Make sure both sit bones are still pressing into the mat. And on your next exhale, release that arm down, release your bind if you have it. You can inhale, arms back up in the air. Exhale down to the other side, placing that left hand on the mat, right arm reaching over. You can shine that chest towards the ceiling. Gaze can be above the armpit or up in the air. If you'd like to incorporate that bind, go ahead and reach that arm back behind you. Find that hip crease. Shine that chest towards the ceiling. Find any position for your head that doesn't wrench your neck. Making sure both sit bones are still pressing firmly into the mat. Go ahead and release your bind. Release your other arm. You can come to center. And then inhale those arms up in the air again. Exhale, twisting to the right, placing that left hand over the right knee. Right hand back behind you. Inhaling, nice long spine. Exhale, twist even further. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, twist. Inhaling long. Exhaling, twisting. And on your next exhale, do a nice gentle counter twist to the other side. And we'll inhale back center. Exhale here. Inhale those arms back up in the, oh my gosh, animal fight. Exhale, twist to the other side, placing that right hand on the left knee. Left hand behind your back. Inhale, nice long spine. Exhale, twist to the back. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, twist. One more time, inhaling, nice long spine. Exhale, twisting to the back. On your next exhale, you can do a nice little counter twist to the other side. Inhaling center. And shake your arms out. We'll inhale them up in the air again. Exhale, gently fold forward. You can round your back as much as you'd like here. Your spine at your neck should be nice and long, so you're not dropping your head down, just gazing a little bit forward. See if you can elongate your tailbone from here, and then maybe fold a little bit deeper. Inhale the top of the spine nice and long again. Exhale, maybe fold a little deeper. And just breathe here. And on your next inhale, you can walk your fingers back. Nice long spine up in the air. Inhale your arms up in the air, come back down onto your waist. Shift those hands so they're back behind you, so your elbows are pointing back behind you. And do a gentle back bend coming into a very, very low camel. Make sure your knees aren't popping up off the ground. Make sure your sit bones are still pressing into the mat. If you'd like, from here, you can place your hands back behind you on the mat. Tent your fingers and press your chest up a little higher. Careful not to strain your neck here. And then on your next inhale, bring our head up, bring our arms back to our hips, shift them back to the side, and go ahead and give them a little shake. Inhale your arms out to a big T. Exhale, doesn't matter which arm's on top, we're just gonna give ourselves a nice big hug. See if you can grab onto your shoulder blades behind your back. See if from here you can pull that belly button in towards the spine. Checking in with your jaw, checking in with your glutes, making sure you're not holding any tension anywhere. Breathing here. Go ahead and release your arms back into a T. And we'll just cross over with the opposite arm on top, reaching back behind you, grabbing onto those shoulder blades. Pulling that belly button in towards the spine, making sure your spine is nice and long. Breathing here. Checking in with your glutes and your jaw, making sure you're not holding any tension unnecessarily. And on your next exhale, you can release your arms down. You can give a little shake out. Next thing we'll do is interlace our hands behind our back. Stretch those arms back behind you. If your ribs stuck out like mine did, pop them back in. It's about to be another animal fight if anybody's watching. And then just go ahead and exhale and bring that chest towards your shins for a seated humble warrior. Option here to try to bring your hands forward, forcing your shoulders open and maybe yourself a little bit lower. Then on your next inhale, come on back up. Switch the crossing of your hands. Strange them on top. Stretch those hands back behind you. Exhale down. And just breathe. There you go. Inhaling back up. Release your hands down. Give your arms a little shake. We'll go ahead and come to all fours on your mat. Hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. From here, see if you can press those fingertips into the mat. Press the knees into the mat. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Making a passive pose active by pressing in all these points. You can push your shoulders away from the mat. Just breathe here. And then we'll inhale that left arm up into the air for a nice gentle twist. Make sure both knees are pressing into the mat. Exhale, thread the needle under, place the outside of the shoulder onto the mat. You can walk your fingers forward on your right hand if you'd like. Check in with the tops of your feet, make sure they're glued to the mat. Check in with your hips, make sure they're square. And next inhale, you can walk those fingers back, press your hand into the mat, reach up for a gentle twist again. Exhale, left hand on the mat. Check in with your knees, check in with the tops of your feet, make sure they're pressing against the mat, and we'll lift the right arm into the air for a nice gentle twist. Both knees in the mat, both hips square. Exhale, thread that right arm underneath, placing the outside of the shoulder on the mat, walking those fingertips forward if needed. Check in with the tops of your feet, make sure they're glued to the mat. Make sure your hips are square. Your next inhale, you can walk those fingers back, press into the mat, reach up in the air with your right hand, nice long twist. Exhale, hand back to the mat. Check in with the tops of your feet, check in with your knees, make sure you're pressing everything down into the mat, pushing that ground away from you. Nice long neutral spine. We'll start our cat-cows by inhaling, dropping the udder down. Cow pose. Exhaling, rounding in the back, pulling that belly button towards the spine. Cat pose. Inhaling for cow, shining that chest forward. Exhaling for cat, belly button towards the spine. Inhaling for cow. Exhaling for cat. Go ahead and continue this motion on your own, warming up the spine any way you'd like. You can add the feet by coming into cat and coming up on your tippy toes. Exhaling into cow and coming back to the tops of the feet. I said that backwards, but you know what I mean. Cow is tops of the feet down, cat is toes curled under. You can do S and C curves in the spine. You could point your fingers towards the sides of the mat and go through the motions that way, giving yourself a nice little wrist stretch. You can come into a child's pose, you can come forward to a little baby chaturanga, whatever you'd like to do. When that spine is nice and warmed up, you're going to take that left leg behind you. Go ahead and tuck your toes under. And we'll just do a nice gentle rock. Try to stretch out that calf. Keep those toes tucked onto the mat. And when you've had enough of that, we'll just raise that leg so it's perpendicular to the mat. Breathing here. Checking in with those hips, making sure they're square to the mat. Checking in with your hands, making sure you're putting equal weight in both hands. Pulling that belly button towards the spine. Extend the opposite arm as leg out in front of you. I'm cheating, I have a wall. Breathe here, reaching that foot back, reaching that hand forward. Feel that scissoring action in between. If you're comfortable here, you can stay. If not, on your next exhale, go ahead and bend your knee, bend your elbow, bring them together at your center point. Pushing the opposite foot down to the mat for stability. Inhale, back long. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, long. One more time, exhale, elbow to knee. And place your knee and hand back to the mat. Right leg back behind you. You can tuck your toes under. Give yourself a little rock back and forth. So you can stretch that calf muscle. When you're ready, you can lift that leg into the air so it's perpendicular to the mat. Making sure you're pressing into the top of the opposite foot, pressing into the mat with your hands, pressing in with your fingertips. Breathing here. Extending that opposite arm forward, reaching back with the foot, forward with the hand. Pulling that belly button towards the spine for stability. And if you'd like to, on your next exhale, go ahead and bend that elbow, bend that knee, bring them in together at your center line. Exhale long. Inhale, fold up. Ah. Exhale long. Nope, inhale long. Exhale, fold back up. Then inhale, replace your hand and your knee back to the mat. Give your hips a little shake out. We'll go ahead and tuck those toes under and push yourself back into a downward facing dog. Breathing here in down dog. Your legs can be as far apart as you'd like. Start by pedaling out your feet, stretching those calf muscles, stretching those quads. When you're ready to find stillness and settle in, inhale and come up on your tippy toes. Exhale, pull those heels down towards the mat. One more like that. Inhale up on your toes. Exhale down, pulling your heels towards the mat. Breathing here. On your next inhale, we'll roll forward to plank. One full breath in plank. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling again. Exhaling, pressing back into downward facing dog. Pulling those heels towards the mat. Pressing those fingertips into the mat. Lift your right leg into the air, three-legged dog, nice long leg. You can just rotate your hips, rotate your knees, rotate your ankles, whatever you need to do. Wake up that leg. And when you're ready to come to stillness, bring it to a nice long three-legged dog. We'll bend the knee, pulling that heel towards the bum, and just open those hips up. Exhale, come back to center. Drop that right leg down. Lift the left leg up into the air. Three-legged dog, nice long leg. Give yourself a little shake out. Can be in the hips, in the knee, in the ankle, whatever you need. And then come to stillness, long three-legged dog. Bend that knee, bring that heel towards the bum. And then we'll open the hips up. Breathing here. Exhaling your foot back down to the mat. Breathing here. And when you're ready, you can walk your hands back to your feet. So you're in a forward fold at the back of your mat. Breathing in your forward fold. Knees can be as straight or as bent as you'd like. Make sure you're not straining in your neck. You can nod your head yes. You can shake your head no. Pull your belly button towards your spine here. And see if you can exhale a little bit further down. Check in with the four corners of the bottom of your feet. Make sure you're utilizing all four corners. You can shake back and forth. You can roll. What are we doing? Swing. You can swing forward and backwards, back and forth. Checking in with all four corners of the bottom of the feet. Check in with your glutes, check in with your jaw, make sure you're not holding any tension unnecessarily. And see if you can exhale and fold a little bit deeper. Placing a hand on each shin. Inhale up for a nice long flat back. Exhale, fold forward. See if you can fold a little deeper this time. Option here to grab opposite elbows, rock back and forth, swaying with your arms. The other option is to interlace your hands back behind your back, reaching your hands forward. You can also take your two-piece fingers around your big toes for Yogi Tola. Bend those elbows and pull your torso down. Whatever option you choose, just breathe here. Release your hands wherever they may be. Place your hands on your shins. Inhale here for a flat back. Exhale to fold forward. And we'll come up to stand, stacking vertebrae by vertebrae until you're in a standing position at the back of your mat. From here, you can inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, forward fold. From here, your feet can be hips width distance apart, two fists in between the ball of your feet, or you can bring your toes together and have your ankles an inch apart, whichever you prefer. We're going to have a nice, strong, sturdy stance, still folding forward. We're going to bend our knees, lower our bone down like we're about to sit into a chair, resting the chest on the thighs. Breathing here. Inhaling your arms straight forward, chest is still rested on those thighs. And then on your next inhale, bring that chest off of your thighs. So now you're in a nice, strong chair pose, really low down. Breathing here. Check in with your low back, see if you can extend your tailbone down. Check in with your upper back, see if you can arch your upper back up towards the sky. On your next exhale, fold forward all the way. We'll walk the hands forward until they're at the front of the mat and your feet are at the back, so you can come into a downward facing dog. Breathing here in down dog. Shake out your hips if you need. And on your next exhale, walk or hop to the front of your mat. So you're in a forward fold at the front of your mat. Exhaling here, see if we can fold a little bit deeper. Placing hands on your shins, inhaling to a flat back. Exhaling, folding forward. Inhaling, rolling up the spine, vertebrae 5 vertebrae until we're standing at the front of your mat. All right. Sun salutations. Okay. Standing in mountain pose at the front of your mat, check in with your feet. Make sure that all 4 corners of your feet are pressing down into the ground. If you'd like, you can rock back and forth. You're still very stable, forward and back, still very stable. Hips stacked on top of knees. Go ahead and pull that belly button towards the spine. Make sure your ribs are not sticking out. And we'll inhale the arms up into the air. From here, exhale those shoulders down the back. Inhale the hands high into the sky. And on your next exhale, fold forward all the way down. Breathing here. Hands on shins, inhale up for a nice long flat back. Exhale, folding forward, planting your hands. Right leg back behind you. So now you're in a low lunge, left foot in front. Nice right angle, 90 degree in that front foot. Nice strong stance. If you were to take your hands off the mat, it would still be very stable. From here, we'll bring that back knee down, untuck the toes. Right hand on the mat, left hand in the air for a nice long twist. Your next exhale, bring that hand back to the mat. And we'll inhale both arms up in the air for Anjaneyasana. Gaze at your thumbs for a tiny back bend here. Exhale your hands back down to the mat. Tuck those back toes under. Lift that leg up so you're in your low lunge again. We'll kick this left leg back to meet the right. So we're in a plank pose. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin. Inhaling low cobra. And exhaling, pressing back into downward facing dog. Three breaths in down dog. Your next inhale, lift the right leg in the air, three-legged dog. Bend your knee, bring that heel towards the bum. Exhale, bring that leg, foot in between your hands. Help it if you need. Adjust your stance any way you need to. Make sure there's a right angle in that front knee. So you're in a low lunge on the other side now. Make sure your stance is still stable. You can bring your hands up in the air. Left hand on the mat. We'll raise the right hand in the air for a nice gentle twist. Breathing here. Exhale your hand back down to the mat. Ooh, drop that back knee. We'll come up for Anjaneyasana. Exhale, hands back to the mat. Now we'll do an Anjaneyasana twist because I made you do a low lunge twist. Bring that right arm up. Exhaling back down. Go ahead and tuck those back toes under. Come back into your low lunge. Send that right leg back again. So now you're in a downward facing dog or plank pose. Come into your plank if you're in downward facing dog. And then we'll exhale, knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale up for a low cobra. And exhale back for downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog. This time we'll lift the left leg in the air. Nice, long, 3-legged dog. Exhale, bend that knee. Bring that heel towards the bum. Breathe here. On your next exhale, bring that foot in between the hands. Help it if you need. Now just to make both sides even, let's do a low lunge twist with the left foot in the front. Breathing here. Exhale your hand back down to the mat. Take that back leg, bring it up to the front. So you're in a forward fold at the front of your mat. Hands on shins, nice, long, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, roll up. Vertebrae on top of vertebrae until you're standing in mountain pose at the front of your mat. Beautiful. I'm going to get a drink. All right. Mountain pose at the front of your mat. Inhale those arms up above you. Exhale your shoulders down your back. Breathing here. From this stance where you're reaching your arms in the air, go ahead and relax them back down, placing your hands on your hips and pressing your chest into the sky. Nice, gentle back bend. Inhale your chest back forward. Exhale, release your arms. Inhale them back in the air. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, hands on shins, nice, long, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your hands, kick your right leg back behind you. So you're in a low lunge. From here, adjust your stance any way you need to. We'll rotate that back heel down, pointing your hips towards the front of the mat still. Inhaling the arms up in the air, so we're in a warrior one towards the front of the mat. If you need to make your stance a little wider, please do, a little shorter, a little narrower, whatever works for you. Breathing here with these hips forward. Go ahead and release your hands back behind your back. Interlace your hands behind you. Point that chest up towards the sky. Inhaling nice and big. And then we'll exhale, bring that chest down towards the knee for humble warrior. Nice strong stance here. Breathing. On your next inhale, bring that chest back into the air. Release your hands, bring your arms up for warrior one again. Exhale your hands down to the mat. Frame your front foot. We'll kick that left leg back to meet the right, downward facing dog. Inhale forward for plank pose. Exhale knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale low cobra. Exhale press back into downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog. This time we'll lift the right leg up in the air, 3-legged dog. Exhale, bend that knee, bring the foot in between the hands. So now we're in a low lunge on this side. Rotate that back heel down. Adjust your stance any way you need to. Keeping those hips pointed towards the front. We'll inhale the arms up for warrior one. Breathing here, making sure the outer edge of that back foot is pressing into the mat, right leg and the front knee. Exhale your arms back behind you, interlace your hands behind you. Weird thumb on top this time. Shine that chest towards the ceiling. And then exhale, bring it back down to meet the knee. Breathing here in humble warrior. On your next inhale, bring that chest up in the air again. Rebend that front knee if you lost it. Exhale, release your arms back up above your head. Inhale, nice and big here. Exhale, bring your hands down to the mat. Keep that front leg back to meet the back. Downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog. Then we'll roll forward to plank, chaturanga, or knees, chest, chin, whichever you prefer. Inhaling for low cobra, and exhaling, pressing back into downward facing dog. Hopping or stepping to the front of the mat, whichever you prefer. Forward fold. Give your hips a little shake out if you need. Breathing here, checking with the back of your neck. Placing your hands on your hips, shins. Inhaling, nice, long, flat back. Exhaling, folding forward. Inhaling, rolling up to stand, vertebrae by vertebrae. Hands up above your head. Exhale, hands through heart center, and shake it all off. All right. My mat is half on a carpet, so we're gonna fix that. All right. It's only a quarter on a carpet now. All right. Standing at the front of the mat. Nice, strong mountain pose. Feet are hips width distance apart or feet together, heels apart, whichever you prefer. Whatever's strongest for you. We'll start by bending the knees down. Elongate that tailbone. Bring your bottom a little lower. See if you can bring your bottom a little lower. Check in with your calves here. See if you can feel a stretch in the back of your calves. And from here, you can extend those arms out front. Make that chest shine towards the ceiling. And just breathe here in chair pose. Exhaling, folding forward. Elongate those knees as much as possible. Folding forward, dropping down. Hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhaling, folding forward, plant your hands. We'll bring the right leg back behind you. We'll rotate that back heel down, adjust your stance any way you need to. Hips still pointed towards the front of the mat. We'll inhale those arms up for warrior one. Exhale, reach those hands back behind you. Interlace your hands behind your back. Inhaling here with your chest shining towards the ceiling. Exhale, fold forward for humble warrior. Inhaling back up, shining that chest forward. Release your hands up into the air. So we're in warrior one again. And then exhale, rotate those hips open. Extend your arms out to either side. Warrior two. Front knee is bent as deeply as possible. Back edge of that back foot is pressing into the mat. Arms are nice and long, stretching in either direction. And just breathe here. Your next inhale, flip that front palm forward. We'll reach into the air and scoop some up and come into a reverse warrior. Checking out that front knee, making sure it's still bent. Exhaling your hands back to warrior two. Inhale, give that front knee a rest, make it nice and straight. Exhale, come forward as much as possible and come down into triangle. Gaze can be at your upper arm, forward, or down, whenever you prefer. On your next inhale, come back to warrior two arms, bend that front knee again. This time we'll come into side angle, placing the forearm on the thigh and reaching your other arm over top. Option here to introduce the bind, bringing that arm back into your hip crease, or as close as you can get, and shining that chest towards the ceiling. Option here for the full bind, taking this arm underneath and reaching back for the back arm. And release that arm wherever it may be. Come back into warrior two. Give that front knee a little bit of a rest. Cartwheeling the arms back down to frame that foot. Hop the back heel off the mat. Bring that left foot back to meet the right. So we're in downward facing dog. Exhale forward to plank. Lower your knees, chest and chin. Inhale into low cobra. Exhaling, pressing back into downward facing dog. And we'll lift that right leg in the air. Nice long leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend that knee, bring that heel towards the bum. Breathe here. Exhale, bring that foot in between the hands. Stop it if you need. We're in a nice low lunge here. Adjust your stance any way you need to. We're going to rotate that back heel down. Hips are still pointed towards the front of the mat. Inhale those arms up for warrior one. Keeping that front knee bent. Exhale your hands back behind you. Weird thumb on top this time. Breathing, shining that chest towards the ceiling. Exhaling, folding forward, bringing the chest towards the knee. Inhaling back up, releasing your arms into warrior one. Checking into that front knee, making sure it's still bent. And then exhale, rotate those arms out and come into a warrior two on the opposite side. Front knee is bent, outer edge of the back foot is pressing into the mat. Nice strong stance. Nice strong arms pointing out either direction. Next inhale, bring the palm up towards the sky. Reach forward, scoop up some air and come into reverse warrior. Front knee is still bent. Coming back into warrior two, give that front knee a rest. We'll lean forward as far as you can and drop down for triangle. Hand can be on your shin or on a mat or the block, or a block or the mat. Opposite arm, stretching up in the air. Breathing here. Inhaling back to warrior two arms. Bend that front knee. Then we'll bring forearm to thigh for side angle pose. Option here to take that top arm to your hip crease for the bind. Second option to go full bind, reaching for that back arm underneath. On your next inhale, come back into warrior two and breathe here. Give that front knee a rest. Windmill your arms down to frame the front foot. Kick that right foot back to meet the left, downward facing dog. Inhaling forward to plank. Exhaling knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling low cobra and exhaling back into downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog or child's pose, whichever you prefer. And when you're ready, you can hop or step towards the front of your mat and come into a forward fold. Feet are hips width distance apart or toes together, heels an inch apart, however you feel more secure and more stable. From here, let's bend those knees, resting that chest onto the thigh, lowering that bum down a little bit more. Then we'll inhale, arms up for chair pose. Exhale all the way up to stand, release the arms down, and give yourself a little shake out. Get a drink of water. And then we'll do it all again. Oh yeah. All right. Mountain pose at the front of your mat. Nice strong stance, pressing those feet into the ground. Inhale your arms up above your head. Exhale, bend your knees down for chair pose. Inhaling here. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, hands on shins, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Plant your hands on the mat, send that right leg back behind you, low lunge. Exhale, right hand on the mat. Left arm in the air, low lunge twist. Twist. Breathing here. Exhaling that hand down to frame the foot, drop that back knee down, and we'll inhale up for Anjaneyasana. Exhale, hands back to the mat, tuck those back toes under and come into a low lunge again. Inhale up for warrior one. Exhale your hands back behind your back, interlace those hands. Inhale, shine the chest forward. Exhale, fold forward, humble warrior. Inhale, chest shines towards the sky, release your hands. If you lose your balance, no big deal. Inhale your arms back up, warrior one. Exhale, rotate your arms out, warrior two. Breathing here. Inhale, palm towards the sky, scoop up, reverse warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Oof, excuse me. Unbend that knee. Inhale, star pose. Exhale, triangle, folding forward. Inhaling back up to star. Exhale, drop that front knee for warrior two. Breathing here. Exhale, forearm to thigh. Side angle pose. And inhale back to warrior two. On your next exhale, rotate your hands back to frame that front foot. Exhale, send that front foot to meet the back, downward facing dog. Inhaling forward to plank pose. Exhaling knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling low cobra. Exhaling, pressing back into downward facing dog. Breathing in downward facing dog. On your next inhale, lift that right leg in the sky, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend your knee, bring your foot in between your hands. Low lunge. Breathe here for a moment. Make sure your stance is nice and sturdy. Placing that left hand on the mat, lifting the right in the air for a low lunge twist. Planting your hands back to the mat, drop that back knee down, inhaling up for Anjaneyasana. Exhaling your hands back to the mat, tuck those back toes under, low lunge. Nice strong stance, we'll rotate the back heel down, inhaling up for warrior one. Exhale, hands back behind your back, interlace your hands, weird thumb on top. Exhale, come forward, down for humble warrior. Inhaling back, release your hands, come up to warrior one. Exhaling, open up your arms for warrior two. Adjust your stance if you need. Inhaling your palm up, scoop the sky, come back to reverse your warrior. Inhale, warrior two, straighten that front knee. Exhale, come forward and down for triangle. Your next inhale, come into warrior two, bending that front knee. And go ahead and exhale into side angle pose. Breathing here. On your next exhale, rotate your hands down to frame that front foot. We'll send that foot back to meet the back one for downward facing dog. Breathing here. Option here to come into plank, dropping your knees, chest and chin, coming into a low cobra, and pressing back to downward facing dog. On your next inhale, you can walk or exhale and hop to the front of the mat, whichever you prefer. Feet are hips width distance apart. We'll drop that bum down and come into a small chair pose. Exhaling all the way to standing and releasing your hands down. Shake it out. And shaking it out. All right, give yourself a shake out, come to the front of your mat, and we'll do some balancing poses. All right, starting with your right leg, pressing your right leg into the mat, all four corners of the foot pressing down, nice, strong, sturdy stance. Bringing that heel to kickstand on the ankle. Bottom of the foot can come to the calf, or you can press your heel into your inner thigh, whichever you prefer, for tree pose. Hands can be on hips at heart center, or branches blowing in the breeze, whichever you prefer. And just balance for a minute. If you're having trouble balancing, you can pick a point in front of you that doesn't move. Preferably not me, because I'm moving. And if you fall out of it, no big deal, just come back in or try a different position, whichever you prefer. Release your arms wherever you are. You can release your foot from your thigh, but bring that knee forward. Extend that leg out in front. See if you can lift it a little higher, maybe a little higher, and then drop it down. Give your standing leg a nice shake out, especially that outer muscle right here. When you're ready, you can press that left leg into the mat, all four corners of the foot, pressing down. Coming into tree on the other side, heel can come to your ankle like a little kickstand. Foot can be against your calf, or heel pressing into your thigh, thigh pressing into your heel. As long as your foot is not on your knee, I'm happy. Pulling that belly button towards the spine for stability. Hands can be at your hips, at heart center, or blowing in the breeze like branches, whichever you prefer. And just breathe and see if you can balance. When you've had enough of that, you can release your hands, release your foot from your leg, bring your knee forward, straighten out that leg, see if you can lift that heel a little higher in the air, maybe a little higher, and let it go. Shake out that standing leg, especially that outer muscle. And we'll come back to the right foot, pressing that right foot into the ground. We're gonna lift the left foot in the air, reach for the ankle with your left hand. If you're happy here, stay, all good, awesome. If you'd like to, you can grab your big toe with your two peace fingers, yogi toe lock, and see if you can straighten that knee out to the side. Knee can be bent as much as possible. And you can bring that back in. And go ahead and release it back down. We'll do the other side. Left leg pressing down. We'll reach for that right ankle with the right foot. If you'd like to stay here, you're more than welcome to. If not, you can grab your two peace fingers around your big toe and extend your leg out. Knee can be bent as much or as little as you'd like. And if you fall out, just come back in, no big deal. And you can release your leg back down, give yourself a little shake out. And we'll come back to the front of the mat. Mountain pose at the front of the mat. Inhale those arms up. Exhale, hands onto your hips. Point those elbows back behind you. Shine that chest towards the ceiling and relax your neck down. Your next inhale, bring your neck back up. Release your hand, arms, elbows to the side. Give your arms a little shake out. We'll inhale back up, arms in the air. Exhale, fold forward. Hands on shins, inhale, nice long, flat back. Exhale, fold forward, plant your hands, and we'll step into downward facing dog. Inhaling that right leg into the air, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend that knee, bring the shin forward, coming into pigeon pose. Front of your shin is parallel to the front of the mat. Other leg is nice and long behind you. Any support you need, anywhere you're falling, go ahead and place that in. And you can exhale, folding forward, bringing your forehead to your hands or the mat or a block, wherever you're most comfortable. Front foot is flexed, protecting that knee joint. Check in with your jaw, your neck, your glutes. Make sure you're not holding any tension unnecessarily. Send all your focus and breath to those outer hips. On your next inhale, you can raise your forehead, you can walk your hands back, remove any props you may have. Press both hands into the mat, tuck those back toes under, lift your leg up, hold that belly button in towards the spine, and see if you can lift your right leg back for three-legged dog. Exhaling your foot back to the mat. Inhaling left leg into the air, three-legged dog, nice long leg. Exhale, bring that heel towards the bum and sweep that shin towards the front of the mat. Elongate that back leg nice and straight. Front foot is flexed. Give yourself any support you may need. Inhaling that chest up high in the air and exhaling, coming forward. Forehead can be on a block, on a mat, on your hands, whichever you prefer. And just breathe here. Check in with your shoulders, make sure you're not holding any tension there. Check in with your jaw, your glutes. When you're ready, you can walk your arms up, remove any props you may have. Press those hands into the mat, tuck those back toes under, pull that belly button towards the spine. See if you can press the ground away and lift that leg back into a three-legged dog. Placing that left foot back onto the mat. We bring the knees down to the mat and come into a child's pose. Knees can be apart or together. Elongate your tailbone down. We want to find space in this low back area. When you're ready, you can just kind of crawl forward. And we'll come to our bellies on the mat. Elbows underneath shoulders, palms flat on the ground in front of you. See if you can energetically pull those elbows in towards your back. See if you can imagine a string pulling the top of your head nice and long. And on your next exhale, you can release your head down to the mat, release your elbows out to the side. Give yourself a nice little massage on your forehead. Exhale those hands back behind you. Option here to interlace your fingers behind your back, holding your chest up. Breathing here. Zip those legs together like there's a zipper from your thigh to your toes. And on your next inhale, we'll lift head, neck, and chest, pulling your hands behind you. Breathing here. Option to lift the legs. Breathing here for locust pose. Release your legs down, release your arms, release your hands. Bring one cheek to the mat and breathe. Bring the other cheek to the mat and breathe. Bend your right knee, reach for your right foot with your right hand. Just do a nice calf stretch, half frog here. If you don't feel like you're getting enough of a quad stretch, just go ahead and try to lift that knee about a ½ inch off the mat. You'll feel it then. Release that foot down. Bend the other knee, reach for your hand, reach for your foot with your hand. And just do a nice, gentle quad stretch here. If you're not feeling it enough, you can always lift that knee slightly off the ground. You can release that foot, release your hand, give your hips a little shake out. And when you're ready, you can roll onto your back. On your back, go ahead and hug those knees into your chest. Give yourself a nice little rolling massage. Adjusting your back and forth, forward and backwards. You can let go of your knees and rotate them in circles. Whatever you need to do. Then we'll release those feet to the mat. We'll start with the left knee bent, right ankle on top of left knee. Lift that left leg in the air.
Nice right angle in the left knee. Lace your hands through, grab the back of your thigh, and pull that thigh towards you. Option here to take your right elbow and press out on your right knee. If you're still not feeling a stretch here, you can always give yourself a little rock back and forth. See if there's any place you feel like you need a little bit more love. And just breathe here. Check in with your jaw, check in with your glutes. Make sure you're not holding any tension unnecessarily. And release your hands, release your foot, both feet, that back to the mat. Left ankle on right knee, lift that right leg in the air, nice right angle on the right knee. Thread your hands back around that right thigh, pull the right thigh towards you. Option here to press against the left knee with your left elbow. If you can't find anything in this position, just gently rock back and forth and see if there's any place where you can feel a stretch. Checking in with the shoulders, checking in with the jaw, making sure you're not holding any tension. Both feet should be flexed here. When you're ready, you can release your hands, release your legs back down to the mat. Pressing those feet into the mat, see if you can just graze your heels with your fingertips. If so, we'll go ahead and come into bridges. When you're ready, inhale, pressing those feet into the mat, lifting that hips and chest into the sky, breathing here. Option to wiggle your shoulders underneath you, interlace those hands behind you. Just breathe. When you're ready, you can release your hands, roll that spine back down to the mat. Windshield wiper those knees back and forth. Give yourself a little shake out. And when you're ready, we'll hug those knees into your chest again. And drop over to one side for a twist. Doesn't matter, left or right, whatever you're more comfortable with. You will do the other side next. One hip is on the ground, both shoulders are on the ground. Hands can be wherever you're comfortable. The closer the knees are to your head, the deeper the stretch. Option to cross the top knee over the bottom. Your next inhale, bring those knees back to center. Exhale them to the other side of your body. Both shoulders remain on the mat, one hip. Arms can be out on a T and cartoon cactus above your head, and have one hand on your knee. On your next inhale, bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little massage. You can hug those legs in, rock back and forth. And if you'd like, you can come into a happy baby, reaching for the interior of your feet with your hands, continuing to rock back and forth. And if you'd like, from here, you can revisit a pose earlier. Bring your two peace fingers around your big toe and extend your leg out to the side. See if it's a little easier when you're not balancing, maybe because your other knee is bent. See if you can maybe stretch the back of the thigh. If you have Yogi Toe Lock on your big toe, go ahead and switch to the other foot. And then you can come into just a normal happy baby. Or you can come into your final resting pose. Getting yourself nice and comfy, setting yourself upright. Go ahead and bring your awareness back to your breath. Introduce small movements in your fingers and toes. And when you're ready, you can roll onto one side using your arm as a pillow. And take one full breath in the fetal position. And when you're ready, using that same slow quality of movement, you can come up to a comfortable seat. Bring
Bring your hands to heart center. Close your eyes and take a moment to thank yourself for coming to yoga. Close with one Om. Om. Namaste.